So let's solve this question of GATE 2006 IT. Actually, during those days, there used to be a separate paper for computer science and IT branch. After 2008, they have merged both these two papers. Okay. So let's solve this question. It's a very important question. I have collected the useful data from the question, and on the basis of that, I have prepared the table. Okay. If you want full question, then you can Google it out. Just simply type GATE 2006 IT CPU scheduling in the Google and you will get the question. Okay, so let's solve this. Here you see three processes are there and the arrival times of all these three processes are different, 0, 2 and 3. And moreover here you see priority is given. Priority is given with P3 has the highest priority of 1, P2 has P1 has second highest priority of 2 and P2 has the lowest priority. It means what? Lesser the priority number, higher the priority is. Okay. So this is the question based on priority preemptive scheduling, preemptive priority scheduling. And you see here I have written CPU, IO and CPU. It means what? Each of these process will execute first CPU, after that will execute IO, after that at the end will execute CPU again. Fine. And in the question they have asked to find out the completion time of all these processes. Okay. So let's draw the Gantt chart. So is it visible? I think yes. So here I am drawing the Gantt chart. So just watch it very carefully. It's not very simple question. No, I won't say it's not a simple question, but the probability of calculation mistake is very high in these types of questions, because here you see priority is also given, moreover 2 CPU bursts are given and also IO is given. Okay. So now at arrival time 0, process P1 came. Okay, and process P1 will execute for 1 second, 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is the CPU time for process P1, and you see till 0 to 1 except process P1 none of the processes have arrived, because you see P2 has arrived at 2 seconds and P3 has arrived at 3 seconds. Okay, so from 0 to 2 seconds none of the processes have arrived, but P1 has ran for 1 second because its first CPU burst was of 1 second. So till 0 to 2 second except P1 none of the processes have arrived. So now P1 has finished its first CPU burst. Okay. So now after completion of its first CPU burst at 1 second, here P1 will be busy with the IO. So here P1 will be busy with the IO till, and the IO is of 5 seconds. It means what? Here C1 will be busy from 1 to 6 seconds. Okay. P1 IO. It means what? P1 will be busy with the IO from 1 to 6 seconds. Because 5 seconds is the IO time for P1. And also one thing you just notice here, don't consider IO time as the CPU time at the CPU burst time, because IO time is completely different. During the IO, CPU remains idle for that process who is busy with the IO. Okay. So burst time is a CPU usage time. Don't consider burst time as the IO time. Burst time and CPU time both are same, but IO time is completely different. Okay. So now here at 2 second P2 arrived. So here is the 2 second, here P2 has arrived. Fine. So from 1 to 2 nothing was there. CPU was idle during this time from 1 to 2. So at 2 second P2 arrived. Fine. So here you see, here I can write P2. It's not like that after 6 seconds I will write here P2. No, because IO operations can be overlapped with the CPU operations. For example, you see, I already told you that if in the main memory, suppose two processes are there, process P1 and process P2. If process P1 is busy with IO, on that time CPU can be assigned to process P2. Both will run parallelly, right? So no problem. So that's why, although here P1 is busy with the IO, but we can assign CPU to process P2. Okay. Now you see, so process P3 CPU, first CPU is of 3 seconds. Okay, but you see, during the third second, higher priority process P3 came during the third second. Okay, so it means what? Since the priority of process P3 is higher than process P2, so CPU will be snatched from process P2 and will be given to process P3. Fine. So here, during the third second, process CPU is given to process P3. Okay, and since process P2 has executed for 1 second, so its CPU time left is 2 seconds. Okay. Now here, since the P3 has the highest priority, so P3 will execute fully its first CPU. Okay, so process P3 will run from 3 seconds to 6 seconds. So let me write here 6 seconds. Fine. So no. The burst time of process P3 is 2 seconds. Okay, so P3 will run for 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Okay, and here it's 6 seconds. Fine. So you see, since P3 has the highest priority, so P3 has fully executed its CPU. So 0 second is left for P3. So after this, P3, since P3 has completed its CPU, it means what? Now P3 will be busy with the IO. So from here, from 5 seconds till 8 seconds, it means what? 5 to 8 seconds, because IO is 3 seconds. From 5 to 8, CPU will be P3 will be busy with its IO. Okay. So now you see, yes. So now you see, process P2, still the first CPU burst of process P2 is left. Okay, and also till 5 second to 6 second, process P1 cannot be assigned a CPU from 5 second to 6 second. Why? Because process P1 is busy till 6 seconds with IO. Okay, and also process P3 is busy with IO till 5 second to 8 second. So in this 5 second to 6 second, CPU can be given to P2 so that it can run its remaining CPU of 2 seconds. So here you see, I will write here P2 again. So after running for 1 second, so when P2 run for 1 second, it means what? Again it has 1 second left. So 5 to 6 P2 run for 1 second. Okay, and after this you see, at 6th second, process P1 again came, because process P1 completed its IO at 6th second. Fine. And since process P1 has higher priority than process P2, at 6th second when process P1 again came, so CPU has to be snatched from process P2 and will be given to process P1. Why? because process P1 has higher priority than process P3. That's why. So here I will write process P1. Okay, and you see process P1 will run for 3 seconds. Let's see, is it possible? 6, 7, 8. Here process P1 ran for only 2 seconds. Why? Because at the 8th second process P3 has finished its IO. It means what? Process P3 again wants CPU to execute its last CPU of 1 second. And since process P3 has higher priority than process P1, it means what? CPU will be snatched from process P1 and will be given to process P3. Okay. And also since here process P1 has executed 2 seconds of its last IO, so only 1 second is left. Fine. And since P3 came at 8 seconds, so here I will write P3. And since P3 has the highest burst time, so nothing to worry, just execute fully for this 1 second from 8 to 9. So now process P3 is fully completed. So process P3 has completed its first burst, CPU burst here, then its IO from here to here, now its second CPU burst from 8 to 9. So process P3 is done. Okay. Now you see we have two processes left, process P1 and process P2. Okay. So now process which among process P1 and process P2, obviously process P1 has higher priority, so CPU will be given to process P1. Okay, and 1 second is left for process P1 to complete its last CPU. So from 9 to 10 process P1 will execute its CPU and it will become 0. So here you see process P1 is done. And now process P2 is left. You see here still process P2 has 1 second left of its first CPU. So here process P2 will execute for 1 second. 9 to 10. Sorry, 10 to 11. Fine. And now process P2 has completed its first CPU. So after that process P2 will be busy with the IO for 3 seconds from 11 to 13. Process P2 will be busy with IO. Okay. So from yes, 11 to 14 I think. Process P2's IO is 3 seconds. So 11 to 14. Okay. And after that only 1 second is left for P2 for its last CPU. So again P2 will be given the CPU and P2 will run for 1 second. So this is the Gantt chart. And now let's calculate the completion time of all the processes. So P2 completed on 15 seconds. So completion time of P1 is completion time of P1 is, you see, 10 seconds. Completion time of P2 is 15 seconds and completion time of P3 is 9 seconds. So 10, 15 and 9 are the answers. So you see, although I took more time in this question, it's only because of explanation, because I was trying to explain you all the things clearly. So that's why it took lot of time. But in the examination, it will hardly take 3 minutes. Okay, it's not very difficult question. You just have to understand the question. You just have to understand the meaning of IO when there will be an overlapping. Okay, how the CPU is given to a process. If you understand these things, then this question is nothing for you. Okay, so that's why just practice difficult question, because if you practice difficult question, then only you will get more experience. Okay, just you get used to with difficult question, so that during the GATE examination, if you face any difficult question, okay, you will not get nervous. Although it's natural you will get nervous, but you will be able to hold your nerve. Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay, so I think now you have clearly understood this, and even if you have not understood this, just watch this video again for 2-3 times, and after that just try to solve it yourself. Definitely you will be able to understand. Okay, it's a simple thing. Okay.